above and beyond the actual service that you're carrying out for them. Awards and publications, I sort of mentioned this, why we just want to know about those. Again, it's just to give them a sense of you and your work. You will be, and this is probably an important one, how do I get paid for my work? If you are matched with a client company, your contract is with that company. So we'll take you through the induction training later on if you're successful, but it is exactly the same as any other client relationship. So it's important that you'll have a contract in place. It's important that you have terms and conditions, that you think about your creative copyright, that you have, that you have all of that thought process in place, because while we'll be hand-holding and helping you along with the process, ultimately your contract is with the business. And so it's just important that you will have the contract with them and you will be paid by them. So we'll be sponsoring them, we'll give them that funding, and then they will pay you, so that it's a very straightforward transaction. Yeah. Okay, good. That's Ian down the front saying that that's fabulous, just so that you can hear. And as I said, we'll add those FAQs as we go along. So I'm not sure how I'm doing for time. I know we're very tight, because it is important that we get to do that speed pitching workshop with Sally, because I think it'll give you the best possible opportunity to complete that application form. But yes, Ian.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Very quickly? Which is we have a very simple understanding with our clients. It's 50% deposit.
Just a moment, we're just going to get the microphone to you.
This is a very simple understanding with our client. The terms are 50% deposit in order to start the work, 25% on design sign-off, so they then know what they're going to have. They're happy with it, they're very happy with it, and they've signed off the 25% then, and then final 25% on what we call training and handover, because we have to train our clients how to utilise the website that they've now got so they can make the most of it. So the fact that you're now doing it in that way is excellent, because previously you paid the client, and the client then paid us, and but there was no real structure, so they could actually tweak the terms, shall we say, and some that were a little bit tricky did that.
Yeah, no, and that's a very good point. In this case, it is your contract is going to be directly with them, and I think that's a super point that Ian has made, because I know some people are very used to structuring their contracts in a particular way, and it is very good to think about to ask for 50% up front, to structure the payments and to make sure that the final payment comes after sign off. And I would say, and some people will be aware of this, if you're involved in something that's creative and that will be copywritten, and I know this is something that Sally will probably touch on, do think about including in your terms and conditions that the final copyright goes to the client after they've paid the final invoice, and that is an important one. So, but again, we can provide, if you feed back to us as we go along, we can provide you with the sort of guidance if you feel you need or there's a gap. That's what we're going to be there to support you with. So I might try and take a few very quick questions, literally 5 minutes, and then Sally's going to come and do the workshop. Yasmina, do you have the... There's a lady back there in the pink.
Hi, my name is Orla Denny, and I'm a manager with the local employment service in Mayo. So I'm not a creative, but I understand the importance of the creative community. So I think it's great that you're trying to develop an organised creative community, through this networking, because networking is so important. But just on the SME side of things, I've 3 questions, and Ian has answered one of them there, just in relation to brokerage and policing, because I'm from the public sector, so we're very procedures and policy driven, and we like targets and ticking boxes and things like that. So I can understand as well, the thinking that creatives and SMEs think, talk, and operate in a different way. So if you pay your 50% up front and then you're not happy with, say, the initial agreement or the terms of reference, what happens then? Is it just in terms of brokerage and policing, how does that happen? That's one question. The second one is on the SME side of things. I understand that the selection process that's involved here and the criteria for the entry criteria, but on the SME side, who's looking after selecting the SMEs and how does that happen? And then the last question is on vouchers, the innovative vouchers. Can companies avail, because there's quite a directory there of different types of creative businesses. If I were an SME, could I apply for a innovative voucher for web design and then maybe one on architecture or something like that? I'm curious about that.
I might pick up on the last one and then hand over to Mary in terms of the industry side. The industry will identify a creative challenge, a challenge that they're having that they want to get some creative intervention on, and that they'll make their application very specifically around that challenge. You know, the number of vouchers are limited, so we don't envision a situation where an SME would get multiple vouchers. The first round is limited to 10 vouchers as a maximum, and that's focused in the Northwest, and the scheme will continue beyond there. So, you know, it will be important that we get the most benefit out of the relationships and that people get the most exposure to each other and to other creatives. So what will really happen is that the industry will have their challenge. We will match them up with a number of creatives that we feel would be able to fulfill that challenge for them. And then there'll be a matchmaking session where there will be competitive pitches. And so it'll be like any other situation where if an SME wanted to hire a creative to do a particular piece of work, they might have a short list of 3 or 5 where they would go out and get that person to give them a quote for the work or meet them and talk about the proposal. So, you know, it is about allowing for that normal commercial transaction, but it's to really support that so that we demystify the process for the SME so that they get the best guidance. And as Judy and Ian both talked about, the relationship that's put in place and the brokering is very important, and we'll be guiding the SMEs on how to make that decision for themselves, but ultimately it will rest with the power of the creative in pitching their work and the ability of the SME to choose the right creative for their work. But it will be a much more match-made and handheld process than the example that Judy was talking about with Nesta. I might just, in terms of the criteria, I might just hand over to Mary.
Okay, the other part of the question was how are the SMEs going to be selected? Okay, basically there will be an open call. So after today, we will be actively promoting this scheme to businesses through existing enterprise networks, through representative agencies of those sectors. So for example, county enterprise boards, local development companies, Enterprise Ireland. So we'll be actively utilising their networks in terms of identifying who are the target companies in our various sectors. We will also be doing an open, so we'll use those to disseminate information about the programme. We will also do an open call using regular print media, digital media, social media, etc. And it'll be an open call for businesses in any of those sectors who wish to apply. We will engage with them in the same way that we're engaging with the creative sector to ensure that we give them the best possible knowledge available to us about what it has looked like elsewhere in relation to the Nesta example about creative transfer, how it has worked, what the impact has been. So we'll engage and share that knowledge, give them the practical support that we can through workshops or through additional training. And then it's basically up to them. Aoife mentioned there'll be a session for them in July. It's on the 12th of July. And we open registration for creative challenges on the 12th of July. It'll close on the 27th of July. And basically then the matchmaking process commences with the independent panel. Does that clarify? Yeah? Okay, great.
Michal over here on the left.
Michal O'Donnell, livetrad.com. One thing, Aoife, I just wasn't sure of is you mentioned that the voucher system, that is it a matched funding thing? You know, are the SMEs contributing €1 and your group is contributing
yes.
€1?
Yeah, it's 1-to-1.
Okay, so the driving sort of people behind the ideas are the SMEs rather than the creatives?
Well, the ideas will be the creatives. The challenges that need to be met will be from the SMEs. You know, the SMEs will have a service that they will need to have fulfilled, and this is an opportunity for them. I mean, the benefits for them is that they're getting a higher level of service for a significantly reduced cost because that they're going to get their budget is essentially halved. So if there's a piece of work that they've wanted to do or something that they've wanted to innovate around, they have an opportunity to do that with exactly half of the investment that they would have had to put in, because we will match their investment. And that's between a range of, is it 2,000 and 5,000?
1,000 and 5,000.
1,000 and 5,000. So it's within that sort of scope, and we will match that. So I don't know if that answers the question. We just think it's important for them that it's work that they want to carry out and that it is significant for them.
Okay, and then just how is it decided then if they come up with the need that needs to be filled? How do you do the matching? You know, you mentioned something about possibly, 2 or 3 different organisations from the creative side pitching for that work. I mean, ultimately, how is that going to be decided? Is it going to be on price, or is it going to be on ideas, or how is that going to come down to it?
I don't imagine it'll be on price.
No.
No, Mary will probably take us through that.
I suppose in relation to how exactly it will work, we're currently putting in place an independent expert panel that will provide guidance, and that panel will have representation from the creative sector, regionally and nationally, and from the industry sector, regionally and nationally. So there will be people on that panel who have expertise in matchmaking processes and who have seen them from the industry side. In relation to this, Micheál, because it's a test programme, we are very anxious to keep it as open and as fluid as possible, but obviously we have to provide a transparent, open, credible process, both for creative businesses that are going to go to the trouble to register and for industry who are going to register. So just as the creative sector have a set of criteria to meet in order to register on the directory, businesses will have to meet certain criteria also. In addition to that, there will be programme criteria in relation to the types of challenges that will be successful, and all of that criteria is being refined by the team at the minute. So there were very basic criteria, if you think of the bid as a very theoretical exercise, but now that we're implementing it in reality, there were very basic criteria mentioned in the bid. So they're being refined now with that expert input. And in order to ensure that we get the best outcome, we're going to work with that panel who are currently being appointed.
And maybe just to pick up that Mary mentioned, the industry session is on the 12th of July, and as you can see here on the website, the creative criteria is obviously fulfilled today because we've spoken to you about that, but after the 12th of July the industry criteria will be on that site as well, so it'll be open to you, so you'll be able to see it just as much as they will be. If we could take one more question.
And also, sorry, just because this might be important for people as well, once we have confirmed, at the moment that expert panel is being approached and being confirmed, once we have confirmation of who they are, their names will be put up on the website as well.
Yeah, sorry now, so final question. Yeah, the lady down here at the front.
Just a very simple question about the application form. When you fill it out and send it in, and Mary said this program will repeat and run, and this is just the initial process. How can you update your application form?
You mean, so if you want to provide different skill sets, or if you want to change?
Or if you've got another award, or if you've got something very special that you really want to update?
When we develop the new website, it'll be user generated. So what we're in the process of doing that at the moment. This one is quite straightforward. So we hope that for the second round of vouchers, you'd be able to fill in your application form online, and that would all be reasonably automatic. So we're hoping that we will open that so that you'd be able to log back onto your account and you'd be able to amend information. If it's not possible for us to do that within that particular website, at a minimum you'll be able to email us with your changes. Yeah, great.